Thank you very much, Dr. Muntasir. I really appreciate the introduction. Thank you. That was really wonderful of you to introduce and lead this lecture. Is the voice clear?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. So our workshop today in collaboration with Dr. Al-Sharif, which really a big honor to share him this task. He's a very smart engineer and an academic. I had the chance actually and the honor to work with him. We studied together at MIT. He was intellectual person with the companies we worked on. For today, my part here is about introducing a summary, let's say, about the important tips, how to write a strong publication. Very honestly, this is not easy. It needs a long time. And today, the slot I got like from 10 to 15 minutes, let's say. Hopefully, Dr. Muntasir will be generous a little bit with me. So today we'll be focusing on writing publication life cycle, which is quite different from writing publication or publishing paper. This is more like the systematic approach of the management activity. I will take you guys through an overview for the full course of writing publication. I would like to give you an overview, an overall image. What kind of activities, what kind of task you need to follow and achieve to get a strong publication. Then we are going to talk briefly about the technical writing versus academic writing, which they are really different. The most common term here, actually, especially here in Iraq, they are using technical writing while they are teaching academic writing. They are a bit different. Then we are going to follow the steps for the publication life cycle, which they are really 5 steps, starting by preparation, research, organization, writing, and we finish with revision. So here's an overall image of the course and the requirements everybody needs to understand actually and follow them to have the capability to write strong publication. I divide them usually into 4 sets, as you see, like column wise. First one has 2 main points. The first point is to understand really what is the technical writing and what academic writing and how they are different to each other. And the set of activities for writing publication life cycle with the 5 stages that you follow them. Starting by preparation, research, organization, writing, and revision, which we are going to focus on for today. But you really have other 3 important set of activities. The other stage is how to write an abstract, which is really, really important. To the best of our knowledge, 80% of the reviewers, they just decide the decision for accepting or rejecting the paper just by reading the abstracts. They don't have the time actually to read the whole paper in details and deeply, and don't expect them that they are experts and they have a really high background about your problem, about the scientific approach you are trying to publish. So it's really important to focus on writing abstracts in particular and try to do your best actually to present your paper in a few lines mostly about 100 word, 150, not more than that. And there are some approaches actually to do that. Then you need to go through the academic language and expressions. Really valuable and important to follow the rules of the academic writing, starting by introducing the active and passive voice structures. In academic writing, these are the most used, let's say, grammar tense in writing the paper. And to the best of my knowledge, I've been able to recognize they both belong to two different schools. Usually I tell my students, this is the old school and this is the new school. You need to understand them and understand the culture and why they are using active or passive. And some papers, they mix actually those together. You need to understand the adjectives, very important to the academic writing, the adverbs, which really should be there. Sometimes the beginners of writing, actually, they miss to put the adverbs. You need to understand the paragraph unity and how coherent actually is your paper overall. Then the topic sentences, which the important opening announcement for the reader when they read a paragraph or they read a subject. So if you can get their interest from the first sentence, that means you are doing a good job and probably you will get a good review. But when the reader actually read sentence after sentence, and he works hard actually to collect the information and build an image, that will not going to actually guarantee a good review for you, because the readers will get lost easily. We are talking about a deep scientific information. You need to simplify them, you need to drive them step by step. And the novelty, which is the new feature, the new innovation about your work, what's new, should be highlighted carefully and very well. The third set of components is about the descriptions and the evaluation. How to describe figures, how to use the drawings, describe charts, algorithms, the mathematical equations, the tables, and how to select the right benchmark actually to compare your results with. The set is the descriptions. I call them the descriptions. The final set is the doing a bit of research, the planning, documentation, and research strategies. You end with the quotes and citations, and start with the brainstorming, which really valuable to learn how to brainstorm your ideas and create and develop a new innovation. There are specific techniques about them, how to analyze the approaches independently, and how to analyze them mixed together and produce new ideas. Really important for the junior researchers. You need to understand how to do the interviewing, sorry, and how to meet people. People don't have time for you, so you need to be smart how to interview people, pick the information as much as you can that would help in your research. The literature review, how to do the literature survey and literature review. You need to be smart on not taking, how to be fast, quick, and smart, taking notes from experts when you meet them. You need really to understand the plagiarism here. It's a big problem. usually the junior writers, they prefer to go with the paraphrasing as a technique, actually, to drive away from being quoted with the plagiarism. I don't really recommend that. So usually, if you just follow the outlining approach, which we are going to introduce now, you just write down the points as bullet points. And when you write them, you describe everything again. It's really impossible to be quoted like plagiarized with high rates. So maybe it will be 1% or 2%. But but if you find a difficulty with that and you prefer to go with paraphrasing, that's fine. You build your skills step by step. That's fine. Doing the research, and you need to determine your research. Is it a primary or secondary? Which they are different. We're talking about data that's like raw data is not analyzed, not compiled. That will be really primary because you are going to do a bit of analysis. Or maybe it's a secondary, which means the data you are getting, they are really analyzed, really organized, and that will be a secondary. And the work on both kind of research is a little bit different. You really need to understand how to use the quotations if you decided to use the text itself and refer them as a reference. And you finish with the citations. We have several systems actually for the citations, how to cite references. After you do that, yes, congratulations, you are not ready to write a strong publication. So you can see, guys, so many activities, actually. I put them together here as a full course to learn how to write a strong publication. Unfortunately, we don't have the time just to follow up everything. But the main point I would like to make for today is really to introduce the idea how to follow a systematic approach. What we noticed actually about the Arabic scholars in general and the Iraqi scholars in particular, they are really smart, doing hard work, getting brilliant results, brilliant achievements, but unfortunately they fail to present their achievement on the paper because they have a lacking of writing skills. This is a problem when it comes to translate your results. The first set we are talking about today actually is more like the management scheme for the rest of the activities. It's the systematic approach. So not going to finish your results and then you get a piece of paper and pen directly without any plan, and you expect yourself to write a full paper. Definitely you will fail after 1-2 paragraphs. But when you follow the systematic approach step by step with a specific task required from you, I guarantee that you get a success actually in writing the paper. Yes, let's go to the technical writing. What is the technical writing? So I'm not going to spend a long time with that. It's very important to understand that the technical writing is different from the academic writing, where the technical writing is mostly used with companies to write technical text, reports, manuals, proposals, resumes, even websites, and the language is technical in nature. The audience is different from the academic. So usually the audience are general readers, and they are not expected to have high scientific background. So it's really challenging with the technical writing to simplify the language. So it's like direct talk or direct speech very simply with the user. For example, to know how to operate a device, so usually all the manufactured devices come with manuals, for examples, and help how to use them. This is the kind of people you expect. So you are providing, let's say, assistance to the user. This is the main aim, actually, of writing technical text. That's why. While in academic disciplines, so we are talking about the disciplines, the scholars, people with high background of information, and in your area, not just they have some knowledge. This is the kind of audience. They are really different. And there's a special context and style. Context, it's a little bit related to the attitude we're going to talk about in a minute, and the style. So you are not allowed, in most cases, to pick your own style, for example. So when you go to the journal, usually the journal will specify the template for you and what kind of information they expect to put there. You can easily notice inside the academic writing the intertextuality or the quoting of a previous work. This is like a must, actually, to be in your academic paper. And the aim after that is either to support or oppose your findings, your research findings, or your point of view. And definitely the academic writer should have extensive knowledge of the subject. This is how he get the ability to describe and analyze the subject, and with excellent writing skills. So this is the differences between the technical and the academic. So let's go to the publication life cycle, which there are 5 components or 5 stages. So really, I believe in this principle. Successful writing is the result of knowing how to structure information using both text and design. So I don't believe you need to be extremely smart, actually, to be a good writer. But you need to be organized. You need to understand how to follow the systematic approach. So here's the systematic way. 5 stages, starting by preparation, then you do the research, go ahead with the organization. And if you can see, the writing is the 4th activity, is not the first one. This is why the academic writers actually usually fail, because they come from the beginning and think about writing. They start to write directly. And the final paper is not going to necessarily reflect the approaches. Actually, he worked hard to produce, and we finish with the revision. So we have 5 stages. It's really necessary to follow them. Unfortunately, I have to tell you that writing is not easy, but I'm happy to tell you that the systematic approach, the easiest way actually to write and make it easy with time, because it's a practical job. These components and these stages can be interrelated together, sometimes overlapped. And the reason is simple, because you are doing a research. You don't come to research with full knowledge. So during the research, you will find new information and you will take decisions. And based on this information and conclusions you make through the way, you decide sometimes to go to the previous component partially or completely. That's why they sometimes interrelated or even overlapped. The time you allocate for each one is different from one to one, and that's really based on several reasons. One of them is the writing skills you have, actually, but also the kind of subject, the lack of information. So you don't need to deal with these stages as equal. And maybe they're different from subject to subject. So not necessarily to have the same weight every time. These stages may expand, contract, and sometimes must be repeated actually to fit the complexity and context. The other thing you need to consider really, which really missing here in Iraq, is how to collaborate and work inside a team. I had the chance actually to work inside intellectual teams, and I understand the outcomes and the results. When you work alone on a research or writing a paper, just think about you are one brain, one person effort. When we talk about a team, let's say 3 to 5 people, talking about 5 brains, you're not just a double, not just a triple, you multiply your brain capabilities by 5, because you have 5 people thinking, analyzing, interacting with each other. Really the outcomes will be different. And this systematic approach make it really easy to collaborate with partners, just because you divided the job. You have 5 stages, and those 5 stages, we'll find out in a minute, can be divided into major tasks. So you can allocate a task actually to people, do them for you, people working on in a multiple way, if you like. So let's go with the preparation. The preparation, we have 4 major tasks, which is the first stage actually here. Really writing requires solid preparation. If you miss the preparation, you will never guarantee the reviewing result for your paper. The reason is simple, because you didn't determine the attitude of audience. You didn't determine the capability level of readers, which means people, let's say, expert in a specific subject. And you are really talking about basic things like 1 + 1 = 2. Definitely, once they read that example, they will reject the paper. This is the attitude. At the end, we are people, okay? Feeling happy and feeling sadly, angry, anxious, you need to think about it. While the same example, if you consider it and you talk about 1 + 1 = 2, for some readers that have zero knowledge about the subject, they will be looking at you like, wow, now we can understand something, something. They appreciate the same example You need to determine this actually from the preparation stage. So this will really drive the writing. Somebody is writing on my slides, I believe. The first task here actually is assessing your audience and context. Okay, so you need to make an assessment, and the easiest way here actually I found is to put it like questions. You ask questions. You ask yourself. Maybe you ask your supervisor. You ask other experts. To find the answer. I did my best actually to put the basic questions that can help you to assess your audience and context, starting by who exactly is your reader. You need to know who's the reader. Are they students? Are they scholars? You know, you need to know them. Do you have multiple readers? And that means you have readers from multiple disciplines. And in this case, we are talking about people that don't understand your subject exactly. So you need to create the language in the middle that can both of them understand it. It's really challenging. Who needs to see or to use the document? Is it really only the scholars? Sometimes the document will go to a manager, for example, and the manager will put a first decision. So you really need to write what they call it executive summary, for example. It's a general language, specific paragraph, only for that person. See, it's one person, but only for that person, just because it's a decision maker. So you cannot ignore him, you know? So when he read the paragraph, so he can get some ideas. Otherwise, you don't expect him to understand your paper because the man doesn't have any background about your subject. What are your readers' needs in relation to your subject? So this is to determine the quantity and the motivation of information you are writing there. What are their attitudes? This is a very important question about the subject. Usually we don't suffer from this as scientific scholars. Actually, scholars suffering from this, as I noticed, people writing about humanitarian subjects. So it's very sensitive, like politics. Have some, some background information, and they have their own assessment. So not necessarily they are going to accept your opinion, but we need to think about it anyway. Sometimes you are talking about skeptical people. They are just ignoring, they get bored easily. Maybe you're talking about supportive people, anxious, bored. You need to understand the kind of readers we have here and how to get their interest. You think about it. What do your readers already know about the subject? What's their background about them? So you decide what to put basic things, or you go directly to advanced things. Should you define basic terminology, or maybe that's just wasting of time for the reviewers? Are you communicating with international readers? This is a problem. After that, which is the most important task in the preparation, you go to the other task, which is establishing your purpose. And again, by just putting a question and you answer that, what you really want your readers to know, believe, maybe, and to be able to do after they finish your paper. This is the purpose. If you think about these three words so you can put it as a purpose. Determining the scope. Determining the scope is completely based on the first two tasks. So if you decided the purpose, if you assessed your audience and context, that means you are able to decide what to include and what not to include in your paper. And then you finish with selecting the medium, which is not a big problem for us because we don't have the choice. In most cases, usually we publish papers at journals and conferences. This is our medium. But if we are talking about research, that means all tools are open for you, like email, fax, voicemail, video conferencing, and other tools. Yes, so this is the preparation. Once you have done the preparation, you start with the research. And with research, it's really important to determine is it a primary research or a secondary research? What are you working on? Okay, complex subjects need potential understanding and knowledge. You need to read a lot. You need to understand, put questions. This is the research side, the place where you get the understanding, you study, you analyze, you know. So you need to looking for lots of sources of information. But the first thing you need to do is to distinguish between primary and secondary research and determine if you are working on a primary or a secondary. So easily the gathering of raw data, you know, compiled from interviews, direct observations, surveys, you know, whatever the source of information, but they are raw data. They are not analyzed, not compiled. That means you are going to do the analysis and organize them. This is a primary research. While the other research is the secondary, where the information already analyzed and assessed. Source of information, you need to do your best to use every single source is available. That includes libraries, the knowledge you have already, the knowledge of your colleagues. Your colleagues also scholars. They worked already on different subjects and probably they have some idea about your work. So if they answer your questions, they really saving your time. And definitely you need to check the internet sources and you need to think about experts from outside your organization and use your skills how to obtain the information. The third one is organization. Okay, this is really important. This is the real beginning of writing. If you are organized well, that means you know what to do. Without organization, material of research definitely will be incoherent to your readers. Something not organized well, not easy to understand. And you need to decide your best method of development.
Dr. Dia,
Yes.
Dr. Dia, sorry for interruption. You've got 6 minutes left.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
I will rush a bit. Thank you, Doctor. You really need to decide your best method of development. That means it's your decision to decide what kind of way to organize your materials. But I really recommend outlining as an effective method of development, usually to my students. It's really effective. We used it always and successful. Starting by breaking the large or complex subjects into manageable parts. That will enable you to emphasize the key points by placing them in the right position in advance. If you notice, this is before writing. So you decide the place for every single item. I brought an example. I will go through the example. When you start to write, in fact, it will be really, really easy just filling the gaps because you created kind of a map, actually. The result of your outlining, if you get it really well developed, that will ensure the document will be complete, logically organized, allowing you to focus exclusively on writing, and also helpful with collaborative writing. Sorry. This is the example I brought today for outlining. Usually we work it in 3 phases. So when you decide the subject, this is just an example we worked on before. Phase 1, if you see, it's only to determine the sections, the main sections. And I don't think this is a difficult job. This is quite easy. So if you sit with yourself or talk with your partner and decide what kind of heads, main sections we should list together. That's it. If you think about it, it's quite easy. Then you go to phase 2. Phase 2, you expand your sections and main sections into subsections. So you think about every single section. Do we need to put some subsections there? And I believe this is not a difficult job as well. And this is the result. If you can see the phase 1 being expanded to phase 2. Phase 3, you create the second column, which every single section and subsection, you write down bullet points. You just write bullet points. What are you going to talk about in this subsection? And you list down, in this table. And the final outcome, you have like a complete map for writing the paper. If you look about for phase 3, any scholar with basic background, you read the bullet points and you know, oh, I should write a sentence about this, 2 sentences about that, and the end will be a complete paper. So you have the outlining, from the organization. Now you have the writing. It will be much, much easier if you have the outline. So it's mainly, if you look to point number 1, is really just expanding your outline into paragraphs. That's it. And in this stage, you don't worry about the grammar, the refinements, the language usage, or the punctuation, because you have time for revisioning. To consider writing the introduction last. Don't start with the introduction. Keep it for the last. Because once you finish your paper, you will have a precise understanding what you want to write about in the introduction. Your opening should announce the subject, which is, we're talking about something we call it the topic sentence. It's really important. The first opening, get the interest, give some background information to the reader, and you finish with the conclusion that ties up the main ideas together. And the conclusion should make a final point, some recommendations, some actions, or just a summary of your main points. So you see, you follow the 3 activities. When we talk about writing, you start to feel like it's not a difficult job because I prepared well. I have the outlining as an advanced map ready for me. And you finish with the revision, which is really, really important. I divided them into 5 main points. The first point, you need to be very eager, actually, to find and correct faults. Be honest. Don't be, don't be like ignorant for the faults just because it's your paper. Be hard on yourself. Try to find them, correct them. and make the shape of your writing much better. Check your draft for accuracy, completeness, and effectiveness. So this is an overall image. When you finish the corrections for the faults, you have a look overall, and you think about it. Have we achieved the accuracy? Is it complete? What about the effectiveness, about the purpose we determined before? What about the reader's expectations? Have we met them? Number 3, trim extraneous information. So once you finish your paper, definitely you will find some few words. You feel like they are extra words. They're not necessarily need to be there. So just trim them, cut them. Don't overburden actually the reader with something unnecessary. Do not try to revise everything at once. So you put a plan for revisioning, and usually you read your rough draft several times, each time correcting different set of problems. First, you concentrate on large issues such as the unity and coherence. You think about it. Is it a complete story? And you save the mechanical corrections for last, like spelling, punctuation, grammar, and proofreading. And really think about considering other reviewers. Once you finish your writing, you have a limit in revising your paper. But if you have other people, they don't have feelings with your paper. They didn't spend like nights and nights writing the paper. So they will be maybe even harsh, not just hard, on your paper, and will help you really to make it better. I hope I didn't get really lost time, lots of time, sorry. Hopefully I succeeded to send the main target. Thank you, Dr. Muntasser. Thank you, Dr. Sharif, for your patience. The mic is yours, Dr. Muntasser.
Okay, probably erase. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I don't need to annotate now. Okay. So figures. The step 4 is figures. For figures, what are the steps? So let's see the steps here. Of course, you need to draw the figure somewhere, right? Whatever the software that you are using. I'm just listing few things here, Dia, PowerPoint, whatever your mechanism of generating figures. There are so many softwares. Then you export your figure. If you are writing a scientific manuscript, avoid, I'm repeating, avoid using PNG, JPEG, and those types. The reason is they're not good when you make the picture big in the PDF. So what types you want? Maybe generated as a PDF, or there is EPS, something high quality. The reason for that is if you make it like, let me show you here. This figure I have, yeah, it is high quality because I think it is PDF, is it? It's a JPEG, but because it's high quality, it's 1,000 something. So my experience is use PDF or EPS if your quality dropped, okay? So you created the figure, you exported the figure, you just upload the figure to Overleaf, and then you cite the figure. So let's see here, just for the sake of the time, I early created a folder called figure, just created a folder, new, you give it a name, right, whatever. And you create, if you say figures, right, create, it will be figures folder. Inside that, I have how to upload to them. You just click here, click on the folder figure, just go upload file, right? upload file, it will give you all the options from your computer, etc. You could upload, right? Whatever the file, where is you are saving the file, let's say on the desktop or pictures or so on, right? So you just pick it and upload, open, and it will come here. So, okay, let's probably, for the sake of the time, I have two already. I have banner.pdf, I have sample.jpg, two figures, okay? Now, we created the figure, we uploaded the figure. How to cite the figure within the text? So within the .tax, come here. If you see here, there is a skeleton for figures. It's a command, right? Those command, I will show you, just say start begin, right? Pick the begin, say figures, right? If you pick figures, it will give you the structure of the figure, right? So it's not created by me and I'm very smart, I'm remembering all those commands. I'm not, right? So what is those commands? Those commands are include graphs. What is the graph path? So centering means it will make the graph at the middle. Here is the centering, right? Include the graph. This is, I'm including the graph, right? So if you say, what we have here? We have banner and we have sample, right? Say banner, you see, I'm writing now. It will give you the auto completion. You just pick it, right? If you pick it, it gives you the auto correction. Now there is commands you give, something like a scale. Sometimes the figure is very big. You give it a scale from 0 to 1. So 0.3, 0.4, etc., etc., right? Caption like that, you know, right? For any figure. And you give your figure a label. You remember when I talked about the labels for sections? Similar. You give your figure a label. Say it, whatever that figure. So those are, let me remove this. I already created that figure here. So centering, including the figure. So let's change the caption so you know that this is new figure, okay? And here it has figure, let's say new figure, something like that. So again, recompile, you will see your figure. That's the sample actually. 1, 2, 3. So that's the figure. Let me make it smaller a bit, right? So that's the figure, right? It's here, and it gives you the caption figure. So if you want to believe, let's change the sample into the banner maybe. So you believe that I'm changing things actually. Okay, banner. Okay, banner. Pick it, PDF. If you rerun, it will change and bring the banner. It's another image. So just to show you that how you do it, right? If it is too big, then sometimes you give it a smaller. Sometimes actually this banner is over 2. I think someone drawing on the screen. Okay. So this is the banner now within the column. Again, similar to, if you remember how we cite the sections here, reference the section, not cite, because let's save the word cite to bibliography, and reference is when you cross-reference. If you want to reference this figure somewhere, it's similar to the sections. So let's say I'm referencing this figure within the section evaluation. I would say this is the results in figure, let's say /reference open. What is the label here of that figure? It is figure, new figure, right? That's the new figure. You just rebuild. Again, if you see here, we are just linking tags. The reason for that is You don't need to work on the numbers. It will number by itself. Here, this is figure 1 because we have only one figure, so it's 1, right? If we have more, it will automatically change. So that is figures. Let me move quickly to the next tasks. 5 equations. So hopefully I'm doing okay with the time. Equations, you have 2 types of equations. Either within a text, you put them between $$ start, $$ end, or if you have like a longer equation where you need that equation to be a separate, Control Z, then what you do is you have begin and end equation, right? And sometimes you struggle a bit with writing APIs, with writing equations. The good news, there is an online website that help you to write Latex equations, right? So I will just show you, I think I have done early, yep, here you see, right? The value, I put them between is $, and less than or equal to. It's a command, actually. There are so many commands. All the mathematical symbols that you need, they have commands. And someone will say, okay, how I'm going to remember all of those? I would say it's easy. Go and search Latex equations online editor, something like that. There are a few online editors. Personally, I'm using this one, right? So you could build your equation here. If you want this sample, for example, and you don't remember it, you see, /sum. And what do you need? Then X, right? Whatever you see here, it will give you the output, and etc. Like A on B, something like that. Pick it. Like here, A and B, I'm writing, right? And it's changing the equation. Once you are happy, copy this and bring it to your here. If you want another, just maybe put it inside the same. I'm just, again, this is not a nice equation to have, but I'm just showing you samples, right? Could you see here? That is within a text. Okay, if you don't want that within a text, you want it to be separate, I would say that's fine. You just see, come here and say /begin, right? Equations. Pick equation, right? It gave you begin, end. Just take whatever equation here. You don't need to have the sign $. Just put it here, right? Rebuild. The good thing is it will build an equation and it will give it a number. It will do everything for you. Okay, so where is our equation? Yep, that's our equation. Let me make it smaller. That's our equation, and it gave it number 2. We have another equation number, number 1. Another equation number 2. Where is that one? Probably I created it early somewhere. Yes, this is the one. I can remove it now. So I'm removing this one, right? Okay, where it went, it's here. So here is the equation within a text. Here is an equation within separate. And similar situation to the figures and sections. Remember your equation and label. If you want to reference, so what I'm doing always, I'm doing like something equation, give it a name like Gaussian or whatever the name of the equation. And similar to the reference, similar to the figures and sections, whenever you need to reference this, come somewhere and say reference, and it will show up. If you come here and say /reference equation, that's your equation constant. So you are citing that somewhere, right? Okay, so that is equations. Sometimes I'm pausing a bit, so I give people a chance to digest what I'm doing. Right. right? So we finished equations. Number 6, share. So if you noticed from the first few tasks, I did not talk about sharing the manuscript with other people. I was just creating a new manuscript, showing the references and figures. Maybe as a student or as a researcher, you start by your own first, just grabbing the thought. But you are feeling now, okay, I have 4 or 5 pages. I do have other researchers. They want to contribute to the same manuscript. Okay. Now for sharing, there are 2 ways to share. If you are using the free account, sharing, you could share by link. So you could send the link around. It's like the Google Drive or Google Docs or something like that, right? You share the link around. Whoever have the link, you give it access control, edit or view. But if you have the premium account, like in my case and the other case, you could add them actually directly. I will show you the difference. Okay, let's go to the practical stuff. So how to share? How to share is you come here. If you see, we do have a few buttons here at the top. There is a share, right? So remember, is this the free one? No, actually, this is the free one, free account. So if you click on the free account, could I add someone here? I don't think so. Okay. So let me show you in one place. That would be better. So click share. So as I said, if you have the free account, probably you cannot share here you could share only with one person as a collaborator if you have the account. So if you have the free account, just turn the link on, this link, and make sure if you want the person to edit, any person, then you give them this link. If you want them only to view, be careful, give them only view. You don't give them the edit, because with the edit, you can change the stuff, right? Now, that is the free account. If you have the premium, you could actually invite them directly, right? Whatever the name of the person, you know, do I have someone? Yeah, you could just pick anyone, right? You could just pick someone and maybe more than one and share. But also don't share before you specify you want them edit or you want them read only. Once you share with the premium, they will receive an invitation email. Once they accept the invitation email, they are allowed to edit with you. You could view what they are viewing. You could both edit the same. Okay, so that's basically sharing. If you give them the link, also they can come in anytime when they click on the link and see what you have. Okay, so that is sharing. So let's go to review. So when you share with more than one, the reason for sharing, and that's where the juice of our session today is collaboration. So you need people to leave comments and edit stuff, and sometimes they leave a marker somewhere, right? So with the review, if you have the premium, you could, I will talk about both, right? If you have the premium, you could click on the review here, right? There is a review button at the top. Once you click on the review, it's similar to the Word document. If you know the review with the Word document, it's exactly the same. Just click here. Here you have the name of the people you are sharing with. This manuscript, this draft, I'm sharing it with another 3 people. So just activate if you want the review to be active, right? So just activate that. Now, assume that you are coming here and you are not happy with this sentence, and you could leave a comment here. I'd say add a comment, Dia, make sure you check this. Something like that, right? Add a comment. Now, when Dia is logging in and he has the link, he can come here and find my comment and maybe say something done, or maybe he say anything else and reply to me, right? If it is resolved, resolved means done, just click on done. It will disappear, right? So this is you leave comments. But what if you are editing? Let's say these I changed, right? So these a figure, and I'm editing here, a figure, right? It just edit. Again, it is similar to your Word document. Someone will come here and say, do you want to accept? It will give you what has been changed, which time, by whom. It's by you means myself. You, it's me, right? But maybe by Nicholas, by Snapple, someone else, right? You just accept if you want the change, or reject if you don't want the change, right? Accept, accept. So that is the review if you have the premium account. Now, sometimes, assume that, not sometimes, assume that you have the free account, 1. 2, sometimes you don't want to edit here. You want the edit to be left as a marker here. So let's do it. Let's do it with the free, assuming that most of the people has the free account. So the way we are doing it here, you could see I'm leaving some comments here. Sharif, Dia, how I have done this, right? With everyone having a color. So to do that, this is comments actually. To do that, I came at the top here. There is a command called the new command. I'm adding a new command. Again, you copy and paste this all the time. New command. I'm naming the command /Sharif. I'm naming the other command /Dia. I'm giving it a color. Again, all the colors available: blue, red, green, etc. If you are not sure, you check the text color list. And what you want that to be written. So assuming that you have more than one person editing and leaving comments, it's better to keep track of the people. So let's say we have, okay, let's just accept, I think the comments is on, accept. So assume we have Sharif, Dia, we have someone else, etc., etc. So let's start by Sharif and Dia. Here is the name will appear close to the comment, right? So whenever you are, do I have it here? Looks like Control F. Yes, by the way, you could search Sharif. I just pressed on Control F. You could search, right? Sharif, it is appearing somewhere. Yep, that's what I'm saying. So let me just remove it, just to show you that this is disappearing from here. Okay, so I'm coming here and I find that maybe my students or my collaborator need to add a figure. I'm just writing /Sharif. It's a command now, right? And open the command and say, please add a figure here or something. Say whatever you want, right? It will show up here in the place I left the comment as a blue, add a figure here, right? Because we have a reference citation after that, that's why, right? And so on. Actually, sometimes you highlight even a section that needs to revisit. Maybe you just start in the writing, just start the command /Sharif or whatever the command you gave it here, and highlight that and say, please check this, add this, etc. To show you that I also added Dia as another command to appear, and it should be somewhere here today. That's /Dia, also command. You could see here Dia. He wants something, add another stuff or something. You could have as many other people, collaborators as well. All of you leave comments within the PDF. So if I'm reviewing the paper, I'm coming, I look, maybe my first supervisor is Sharif giving me comments, my second supervisor is Dia, and then we have another person reviewing with us, etc. Right? So that's the review. Next, chat. I think this is, we are number 8, so bear with me, guys. I'm almost there. Chat, again, this is an easy task to talk about. You could actually chat between the collaborators live, but not within the text. If you go at the top, there is a chat button here. If you click on the chat, you could say something like, please read section blah and add something and etc. right? And let me know. Send. You could, again, if let's say my collaborators are Dia, Montasser, and 3 other people, they, whenever someone add a chat comment here, it will appear, this is me. It's like you are chatting in WhatsApp or something, right? So there is no lots to talk here, but it's a good way, especially around submission or before that, or when you do something and you don't want to leave a marker in the paper, you just come to the chat and leave your comments here, and the person come and address this here, right? So that's the chat. Okay, we are almost there. Number 9. I promise we have one more to go. History. With history, this is a very fantastic option. As I mentioned earlier, we are working on a single version, more than one person. So there is a chance some one of us make a mistake, delete something unintentionally, or maybe add some stuff, right? And we don't want that. So how we keep track of everything? The good news for you is, let me remove the chat here. So any button. The good news for you is overleave keeping the history, and it's saved by itself. If you notice, I did not press any save when I'm doing it, like in a Word document or something. It's auto save. It's like the Google Docs, etc. If you click on the history here, it will give you a list here of all the versions that since the document is created. Actually, first created is, this is the version that's created, right? The first one, I don't know what was the date. Should be somewhere here, right? So anyway, if you see here, you could download this. This is very old version. Before I was cleaning this one, right? So this is an old version. You just copy it and bring it to your .tex. If you are happy with it, you could click here, which version. Maybe, you know, I just remove something we want here, and we want to go back to this version or something. You could actually compare. You could compare 2 versions. You click on the old one and compare to your one, right? It will say here there are 3 things. Could you see here? I removed the small d and added which time. You could see who touched one. See, I removed the citation here, which time. I deleted it by, you see the time, 7th of June, which is tonight. I changed this, I changed this. So between this version, where is the version? Between the version I clicked on and the current is those changes, right? If you want to check with other one, you could check with other one, etc. So that's the good thing about history. Also, assume that one of the versions you are happy with it, and you could see now it's view single. View single, it's still showing you which one is changed with the other one. View single, that means show only one, right? If you are happy with one of the versions, let's say this version, and you want to keep it for, give it a label, and you want to remember it later. Maybe say, you know, version like draft before Dia join the manuscript, right? Add it. Just you want to remember it, because here if you see, I cannot remember, it's all dates, it's all blah, blah, blah. I just want to remember when we added Dia, this is the version, right? Draft before Dia, I know, right? Maybe draft when we added blah. maybe draft before the evaluation. I know which draft it is. That's the history. It's a great feature. It's all auto systematic. Okay, let's celebrate. We are at number 10. With number 10 is, I will show you just how to manage more than one project. I will show you a real life scenario with real documents. So relax here. I will just show you some of the work we have here. You just go up, by the way, there is an option here, you go up. If you don't want this manuscript and you want to go to the main screen, you go up, right? So here I have all those manuscripts, right? We were only here on one of them, right? This is the one that we were working on. If you go up, I have all of those manuscripts. I see last modified, right? Who last modified it? Who own it? Sometimes I own it, sometimes someone else created it and shared it with me. So this is someone else created it. This is someone else created it, etc., right? Here there are a few options I will show you. You could copy this and make a copy here, and you start. Maybe you have a version for a journal and then you decided to go for a conference. Just make a copy. Just 1, 2, 3. It gives you a copy. Just click on it and change its name. Just say here, it changes its name, say journal version. Something like this, right? If you go up, journal version, right? And this is the original conference version, and so on. If you want to remove it, I don't want this, I just click on this and I remove it. Trash it. I want to download it outside of Overleaf. I want to keep it with me if I'm worried or something. Again, whatever you downloaded from here, you could work on your computer as well with Latex. The only issue there is you don't have it a live document, but for some reason you could keep copy of it. I'm just deleting it now. Someone will say, you know what, you have so many things here, why you don't have a categories? I would say, yes, you have a categories. You could create folders. I will show you this folder for accepted papers. I have a folder here because here it's everything, right? Sometimes I love to see what is going on, but here you just create a folder, right? Say whatever the folder is, session, drafts, not done, something like that, right? Create. So I created a folder here, right? So you come here and let's move our one now into that folder. You see here, I clicked on it. I just go here and add to folder. Which folder? All my folders here will show up here. So you could pick draft. You see, now it become within a draft. If you go to draft, I have just that one. If you go to all project, they will all show up. So, yep, you have the folders here. I talked about this. You could trash, you could archive it, you could download it, you could copy it. I think that's pretty much it. Now, yep, archive it, important, labeling it, all we talked about. And congratulations, guys. It's 1:10 in the morning in Australia. So summary, and honestly, I want everyone in the session, just, of course, I will pass to Dr. Montasser for the questions, but please, everyone in the session, just write how many of those 10 you feel comfortable. We created an account, we created a new project, means from a template. We show how we create sections and subsections. We talked about how to reference and cite. We talked about figures and how to create a figure and bring it there. We talked about equations within a text or separate. We talked about how you share with others. We talked about review, how to review the manuscript and leave comments, chat. We showed how to chat together outside of the .tx file, history, how to make sure that you keep track of everything. And finally, I ended up with manage projects. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry if I took more than it's given to me. I think Dr. Muntasir and the guys are very generous with me. Nobody interrupted me. So thank you so much for listening. And forgive me if I missed something or rushed over something. I hope the guys will, inshallah, will share the records. And I will also share those slides from me in the, yep, Dr. Muntasir.
Well, thank you very much indeed, actually. Well, nobody interrupts you because it was an interested subject. And thank you for your time. We know the time different. Probably it's 1 o'clock in the morning now in Australia. So, أخوان إذا أكو أحد عنده سؤال أو comments الدكتور ضياء أو الدكتور شريف ممكن يرفع ايده أو يكتب بالشات بوكس. اوكي خلي ابدي اني ويا دكتور ضياء. دكتور ضياء تسمعني؟
نعم دكتور تفضل.
شكرا جزيلا. بصراحه يعني اكو سؤال دائما يعني يتبادر بذهني والطلاب ايضا يسالوه. يعني تعرف انت يعني اكو فاين لاين بين التو ماتش تكست والتو فيو تكست، وهذا الفيدباك دائما يجي من الريفيورز. يعني شنو الطريقه اللي ممكن الطلاب على الاقل طلاب البوست جراد يقدرون يحلون هاي المشكله؟ يعني اما يكتب تو ماتش يا اما يكتب يعني تو ليتل تكست، طبعا بالريسيرش بيبر قصدي يعني مو بالاساينمنت العاديه.
واضح دكتور واضح. شكرا جزيلا دكتور منتصر. يعني حقيقه هذا الشيء اللي طرحته حضرتك هو يعني من غير اي بحث معمق بالحاله نقدر نشخصها انه هو يعني lack of preparation، يعني عدم تخطيط مسبق. لو اكو يعني وقت صرف على التخطيط وتنقلنا بمراحل الكتابه مرحله مرحله ونصل للاوتلايننج اللي هي واحده من اهم الميثودز اوف ديفلوبمنت في مرحله الاورجنايزيشن بوقت مبكر، الباحث او من يشرف على الباحث بسهوله يقدر يعني يشخص انه هذا الباراجراف او هذا السكشن be too much يعني just a little. يعني انا هاي نصيحتي، يعني دائما اصرف وقت على التخطيط، يعني سوي خطه، هي البولت بوينتس اللي خاصه بالاوتلايننج، حاول شيرت، يعني لا تخلي شغلك سكرت، يعني عادي شيرت يعني، وشوف يعني other reviews. يعني انا هاي نصيحتي.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور ضياء. او ايضا دكتور ضياء اكو سؤال عندنا بالشات بوكس كان موجود من دكتور مختار بخاري اعتقد من الجزائر. يقول هل يوجد قالب معين لكتابة ورقة علمية؟ يعني انا يعني اعتقد قصده قالب علمي يعني مو كفورمات يعني شرحها دكتور شريف بطريقة بسيطة مبسطة، بس علميا يعني اكو قالب معين لكتابة ورقة علمية؟ يعني
دكتور هو حقيقة الوقت ما كان يعني سعفنا، احنا يا دوب اخذنا يعني غطينا يمكن 20 الى 25% من يعني الكورس الاجمالي للرايتنج ببليكيشن. بالنهايه الرايتنج يعني الى يعني برنت خاص، يعني برنت خاصه للكاتب. يعني مع الزمن لما تقرا الى كاتب معروف من غير ما تقرا الاسم تقدر تميز هذه من كتابات فلان، يعني وهكذا اكو يعني كاتبين مميزين هذا الموضوع. فهو اكيد اكو تعدديه بالستايلز، اكو تعدديه بالتمبلت، لكن يعني اكو بعض الاليات العامه، يعني اكو اليات عامه وحسب السكول اللي هو يعني يلجا لها. يعني اكو مدرسه قديمه واكو مدرسه حديثه، يعني تعرف الوقت ما سعفنا احنا ندخل بكل التفاصيل يعني، لكن اكو مشتركات اساسيه يفترض الباحث يعني يعرفها. يعني فهو يعني مباشره يقدر يثبتها كفقرات يعني كايتمز ويمشي عليها، يعني راح تكون له في التمبلت، يعني اكو مشتركات، يعني اكو اساسيات مثلا بالمقاله العلميه ما نقدر احنا نطلع مقاله علميه ما موجوده، يعني لا يمكن ان تطلع مقاله علميه بدون literature survey مثلا، يعني مستحيل. ماكو مقاله علميه تطلع بدون مثلا يعني evaluate، يعني عمليه تقييم، يعني لازم يكون موجود، يعني مع اختلاف الديسبلينز، يعني الانجينيرنج سايد هم يعني more to development، يعني فهم يركزون على يعني how to design how يعني to implement، اللي هم من مخرجات يعني كليات العلوم يصير عندهم تركيز على الاناليسز، فالجانب الايفالويشن عندهم اعلى، وهكذا يعني حسب الديسبلين اللي هم يجون من عنده.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور ضياء.
الله يحفظك.
اكو سؤال اعتقد يعني ما الاسم ما واضح عندي، الدكتور الشريف، سؤال تقليدي: ما هو اسرع في الاستعمال، اللاتكس او الوورد؟
دكتور نعم. الإجابة ما هو الأسرع؟ الإجابة ما راح تكون بسرعة. إذا يبي حاجة يعني start quickly، هو ما يعرف لاتكس اوف كورس، استخدام الوورد أسهل. استخدام الوورد مجرد ما تفتح الدوكمنت يكون عندك وورد. بس أي حدا راح يكتب مانuscripts علمية أنصحه إذا أمكن إنه هو يروح على اللاتكس. اللاتكس ممكن للبداية للبعض يشوف كأنه هو كوماندز وكذا في البداية، بس هذا أسبوع تعلم بس راح يريحك at the rest of your research، لأنك أنت خلاص يعني أنا في ناس تشتغل معاي يعني قاعد هو بيتسلم الدكتوراه ياخذ شهرين حتى يعدل الريفرنسز. انت في الليتكس لا تعدل الريفرنسز ولا شيء، خلاص يعني whenever you add a reference هو automatically references الفيجرز السايتيشنز etc etc. so there is a balance. اذا انت بتكتب حاجه بسيطه تبع small document لا اكتب بالوورد يعني، بس اذا تكتب مقالات علميه راح تنشر في مكانات مرموقه الليتكس راح يكون افضل، راح تاخذ ايام تتعلم، بس الليتكس هو راح يكون اسهل. نعم.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور الشريف. طبعا انا يعني اثني على ما يعني تكلم به الدكتور الشريف. يعني انا شخصيا ما انصح طلاب او حتى الباحثين الزملاء يعني نهائيا انه يستخدمون وورد لكتابه مقاله علميه او يكتبون رسائل التخرج تبعهم. يعني ما في اي مقارنه. في الوورد ممكن اذا تحرك فيجر من مكان الى مكان يصير كله الفورمات مالت التيبل مالت العفو الدوكيومنت يتغير، هاي كلها راسك يبرد من عندها باللاتكس.
صحيح.
فيعني انا ردا على السؤال ايضا يعني ما ممكن المقارنه بيناتهم، بالاضافه لانه اذا حتى من ناحيه السرعه يعني باللاتكس يعني مثل ما تكلم دكتور شريف، يعني انت تتغير الكونفرنس وتتغير الجورنال، يعني مجرد تغير اسم الباكج وهو يتغير البيبر بالكامل. يعني ايضا هم يعني سيف تايم از ويل. عندي دكتور علي الفؤادي. دكتور علي تفضل.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم
أنا
السلام.
دكتور علي الفؤادي من كلية علم الحاسب وتكنولوجيا ومعلومات جامعة القادسية. طبعا أنا أشكر الدكاترة الأعزاء على هذه المحاضرة القيمة. عندي سؤال للدكتور شريف بخصوص اللاتكس. دكتور، كيف يعني أكو طريقة سهلة لخلق تيبل داخل اللاتكس؟ شكرا.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. نعم، الصعوبات دائما أنا شفتها في اللاتكس هي عبارة عن الصعوبات في إنشاء التيبل وإنشاء الإيكويشنز. وعندي لك أنا very good news. الإيكويشنز الآن شفت أنت أونلاين إديتر، التيبلز أيضا الآن انشئ لها أونلاين إديتر. عرفت أونلاين تيبل latex should be here somewhere. I will just show it to you quickly. نعم هذا أصلا فيجر أنا مش يعني هنا جي هذا أونلاين أيضا. هذا ممكن نحط لك الرابط في الشات. الجميل في الموضوع إنه هو الكرييشن فيري سيمبل. أنت بس ترسم هنا هذا الفيجر أنا منشأه. يعني لو تبيني ستارت فروم سكراتش أنا ممكن ستارت فروم سكراتش. أنت هنا تجي تحدد كم رو remove right. You see here I'm changing. هذا زي الوورد فوق. لما أنت happy بس كليك generate هذا الفيجر copy pasted عندك في اللاتكس. هذا كنترول سي نجي في اللاتكس here واعذرونا اذا احنا هاي ما غطيناها لان كان في كثير اشياء فحطيتها انا في ال 10 توب 10. هذا فيجر هذا التيبل عرفت. وتقدر انت تغير به زي ما تحب. يعني هذا مو فورمات هي لا يعني انت تقدر تنشئ number of columns. هذا تيبل انت resize it clear it right. هذا هو new right. resize it as you want وتيجي هنا double click you write right. You write whatever you want as a table. Once you are happy, generate. Yep, and copy and paste it in the Latex. Hope that answered the question, Dr. نعم.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you.
عفوا.
دكتور طبعا دكتور الشريف اكو اكثر من شخص سأل نفس السؤال انه ممكن نحاول دوكيومنت يكتب بالوورد الى اللاتكس. اكو امكانيه؟
وورد الى اللاتكس والله صعبه شويه. انا I did not come across لكن ما يمنع انه هو الشخص يبحث. بس في العاده احنا في طلبه مثلا لما يكملوا عنده مشرف مثلا ما يحبش يمشي يشوف الليتكس وكذا نديروا فيها بالعكس. يعني لما نخلصوا المانuscript نطلعوا البي دي اف ففي نحولوا من البي دي اف للوورد. احتمال سوبرفايزر مثلا كبير بالعمر او something يعني ما يبي يروح على الليتكس ويشوف ويبي اديت في الوورد مثلا. فاحنا نكملوا الليتكس نحطوه يعني اكستراكت كبي دي اف اذا تذكر سويناها.
نعم.
وبعدين عباره عن تفتح البي دي اف كوورد. لكن بالعكس I did not يعني ما عندي معلومه. ما نقدرش ننفي لان في ناس شغاله الان على هذه قصه التيبلز كانت حديثه الان يعني من فتره قريبه يعني. فقد يكون لكن انا يعني مش دارجه عندي.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور. شكرا جزيلا. دكتور معنا دكتور خالد يعني ما واضح الاسم. دكتور خالد عندك سؤال؟ دكتور خالد ما دكتور علي سعيد خاف المايك خاف مغلق عنده.
الو نعم دكتور. الو
نعم نسمعك دكتور خالد. اوكي يعني احنا ما اطول بصراحه على دكتور شريف لانه الوقت اخر عنده. بس يمكن اكو سؤال وصل اعتقد هذا اللي الدكتور ضياء يعني من ياسمين. I'm asking for experience errors we should avoid when writing a manuscript. دكتور ضياء تسمعني؟
نعم دكتور.
دكتور ضياء so what kind of يعني common errors من خبرتك اللي ممكن الباحث يتجنبها من يكتب research paper يعني.
I'm not sure if Yasmin is actually forwarding the question for my side. Probably it's about technical errors with overleaf. However, for the text writing in general, not just the writing for publications, you need to review and always make revision. Without revision, it's almost impossible to find out the errors and the way to correct them. Always consider the external reviewers as well. Share your work. Try to discuss supervisor, colleagues, other experts. This is the best way actually to find out. Don't write the first draft and you feel happy just to submit it to the journal. The paper should be read, checked and checked several times. Try to check different kind of set of problems and mistakes every single time you review. This is the only way actually to do it.
وشكرا جزيلا دكتور. طبعا اكو كثير اسئله تتعلق باللاتكس، يعني ثارت فضول الحضور. عندنا دكتور احمد الشيباني. دكتور احمد الشيباني تفضل.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمه الله.
السلام ورحمه الله وبركاته.
انا خالد توفيق. الميكروفون اشتغل لان كان معطل. انا خالد توفيق، باحث دكتوراه اداره اعمال جامعه المنوفيه مصر.
اهلا وسهلا.
انا بس بتقدم للشكر للدكتور ضياء والدكتور شريف واللي ساعدنا. انا حضرت قبل كده محاضرات معكم في رمضان، كانت الدكتوره عبير، مش فاكر الاسم يعني. والمره دي مشرفنا الدكتور منتصر، واشهد الله يعني استفدت تماما من المحاضره. واشكر الدكتور منتصر جميع القائمين على هذه المنصه الممتازه. وانا فعلا كنت يعني ضعفاء في اللغه شويه، بس انا اكتشفت ان البرنامج ده اصلا برنامج لاتكس او برنامج كتابه، فهو اصلا بالانجليزي. فانا فعلا استفدت جدا يعني من حضراتكم تماما يعني. واشكر جميع القائمين على هذا العمل. وتحياتي لكم من مصر يعني، ودي حسين لحضراتكم يعني.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور خالد، شكرا جزيلا. دكتور احمد الشيباني، حضرتك عندك سؤال؟
الو، السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمه الله وبركاته.
شلونكم دكتور بانتصار؟
اهلا دكتور احمد، اهلا وسهلا.
اني احد طلابكم جامعه القادسيه، كنت بالبكالوريوس.
اهلا وسهلا.
شكرا جزيلا لكم على هذه المحاضره، شكرا للدكتور ضياء، مبدعين دائما. شكرا للدكتور شريف على الوقت اللي اعطيتونا اياه. عندي بس سؤال اعتقد خارج الموضوع، بس متاكد ان الدكتور ضياء راح يفيدني وحضرتكم اكيد.
تفضل.
اكو فد قالب معين برسم الفيجرز والتيبلز بالاضافه الى كتابه المتغيرات الفاريبلز بالمقاله العلميه، لو كيف مثل ما يقولون اكو فد ستاندرد فورمات؟
اوكي دكتور ضياء، اعتقد السؤال موجه لجنابك.
اعتقد دكتور يعني تكنيكال ايشيو يعني ويا دكتور شريف. صحيح.
احنا نحاول نبعد الاسئله عن دكتور شريف لانه نعس. دكتور شريف
الاجابه بسيطه ان شاء الله. انا دائما نعطي من تجربتي المتواضعه كطالب وبعدها كباحث، ما نحاولش نعطي اجابه انشائيه. اجابتي للدكتور احمد هي سمبل. دائما حاول تركز على اين تريد النشر، المكان اللي راح تنشر فيه راح يعطيك ايديا. احنا ممكن الان نجلس نص ساعه نحكوا لك ان في ستراكشر، لا ما في ستراكشر كذا. هي ما في ستراكشر وفي نفس الوقت في ستراكشر، يعني الاجابه الاثنين حسب الناشر. فانا دائما حتى مع طلبتي اول نصيحه احنا نقرر وين الكونفرنس ولا وين الجورنال، يروحوا يجيبوا منا سامبلز 3 4، ففي ستاندرد معين. يعني في العاده ما يديروش عليك ستراكشر في الفيجرز وكذا، بس مثلا في التوب كونفرنسز اذا لقوك مثلا على الفيجر تكتب الكابشن فوق الفيجر، هاي تعتبر باد، لان الان الستاندرد للكابشن يكون تحت الفيجر مثلا، الكابشن للتيبل يكون فوق الفيجر مثلا. فهاي انت كيف تلقاها من خلال الكونفرنسز اللي هو انت تبي تنشر فيها او الجورنالز. هاي هي ببساطه يعني. نعم.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور
شكرا
شريف.
جزيلا دكتور.
طب سؤال، معلش، سؤال حضرتك. ايوه، السلام عليكم.
اتفضل دكتور خالد.
سؤال، انا دخلت مؤتمرين قبل كده ونشرت فيهم بحثين. فكان المؤتمر يعني نفس جهة النشر جامعة جنوب الوادي بمصر، وكان راعي رسمي لينا كمان دار المنظومة اللي هي دار نشر إلكترونية. فكان القائمين على المؤتمر كانوا بيبعتوا لنا موديلز نشتغل عليه، على اساس ان احنا بنكتب البحث بتاعنا على هذا الموديلز ونعمل له ارسال، وهم بيجمعوا الابحاث كلها وبيعملوها كتاب. بس كان اعتقد يعني ان ما كانش البرنامج اللي تقدمت حضراتكم بشرحه، لكن متهيألي كان وورد عادي، بس كنا ملتزمين بطريقة الكتابة وطريقة ده تسمينا للكلام اللي قاله دكتور ضياء من الآن، ان جهة النشر هي اللي بتحدد طريقة الكتابة يعني.